The Vampire Lestat, Anne Rice, read by Jordan Daniel. Chapter 1. I'm the Vampire Lestat. I'm immortal, more or less. The light of the sun, the sustained heat of an intense fire, these things might destroy me. But then again, they may not. I'm 6 feet tall, which was fairly impressive in the 1780s, when I was a young mortal man. It's not bad now. I have thick blonde hair, not quite shoulder length, and rather curly, which appears white under fluorescent light. My eyes are gray, but they absorb the colors blue or violet easily from the surfaces around them. And I have a fairly short, narrow nose, and my mouth, that is, well-shaped, but just a little too big for my face. It can look very mean or extremely generous, my mouth. It always looks sensual, but emotions and attitudes are always reflected in my entire expression. I have a continuously animated face. My vampire nature reveals itself in extremely white and highly reflective skin that has to be powdered down for cameras of any kind. And if I'm starved for blood, I look like a perfect horror skin, shrunken, veins like ropes over the contours of my bones. But I don't let that happen now, and the only consistent indication that I am not human is my fingernails. It's the same with all vampires, actually. Our fingernails look like glass, and some people notice that when they do not notice anything else. Right now, I am what America calls a rock superstar. My first album has sold 4 million copies. I'm going to San Francisco for the first spot on a nationwide concert tour that will take my band from coast to coast. MTV, the rock music cable channel that has been playing my video clips night and day for 2 weeks. They're also being shown in England on Top of the Pops and on the continent, probably in some parts of Asia and in Japan. Video cassettes of the whole series of clips are selling worldwide. I am also the author of an autobiography, which was published last week. Regarding my English, the language I use in my autobiography, I first learned it from the flatboatmen who came down the Mississippi. I learned more after that from the English writers, everybody from Shakespeare to Mark Twain to H. Rider Haggard, whom I read as the decades passed. The final infusion I received from the detective stories of the early 20th century in the Black Mask magazine. The Adventures of Sam Spade by the Dashiell Hammett and Black Mask were the last stories I read before I went literally and figuratively underground. That was in New Orleans in 1929. When I write, I drift into a vocabulary that would have been natural to me in the 18th century, into phrases shaped by the authors I've read. But in spite my French accent, I talk like a cross between a flatboatman and Detective Sam Spade, actually. So I hope you'll bear with me when my style is inconsistent.